Hello, beautiful humans. I wanted to pop on, by the way. Can you check out the craziness that is happening behind my head? These cats keep me out of trouble. They really do. Okay, so I posted on Facebook yesterday, and I said something along the lines of how my day was amazing. It was mind-blowingly good. It filled my heart, it filled my soul in so many ways. And I want to tell you about how I hit my upper limit of happiness and what that looked like for me. But first, I want to tell you about my amazing day. So I woke up, it was winter solstice, had a slow roll to my morning, took my son and did a little activity adventure with him, and then dropped him with my father. And he spent the night at my dad's house. They were getting some wood. My son is, actually I have two boys who are really, really excited about firewood. And that's delicious for me and heats the house. So one of my children was recently telling my dad about how much he's enjoying doing firewood. And my dad said, well, why don't you come over? We'll do some firewood at my house and we can bring it back to your house. And he was like, yes, game on, like game on. So I had this really delicious, slow morning where everything went smoothly. Did an adventure with my son, some Christmas shopping that he wanted to do, dropped my son with my dad, had an amazing client who I have worked with for years, who is just so near and dear to my heart. I have gotten the opportunity and the blessing to be with her through some major, major life transitions. And then had the day 3 of our Soul-Led Year program, which I freaking loved. Like, I cannot even explain to you how much I loved this little container. It was 3 days. It was the most delicious experience for me. I watched some enormous transformations. The real focus was on being able to orient more deeply towards our soul and what our soul is longing for, calling for, asking for, then orienting towards the mind. And so that 3-day window with that container was just like it was so freaking delicious for me. It really filled my cup. And on day 3, we started a ceremony, and there was a lot of lead into the ceremony, which is all part of the ceremony. And there were some participants that shared inside of the group, some that shared with me just one-on-one through text or voice memos or emails about the enormous shift that they went through inside of this 3-day container. So it just was like the most delicious thing ever for my heart and my soul, because it was very aligned with my heart and my soul. And then we went into All of Me, which is the group coaching membership that I run. That is also like, it just feeds me in a way that I'm so grateful for. And in that, I was talking about a concept that it was actually multiple concepts that we were putting together into one piece, right? To see how the interconnectedness of these concepts. And I had asked before I moved on to add another concept, if there was anybody who was struggling. And there was an individual who was struggling. And I won't go into all of the details of that because it wasn't my experience to share. But what I will say is that it was a really profound experience for us all to get to witness. And when we watch somebody go through a really profound experience, I'm a huge believer that we get caught in the crossfire of their frequency. And so multiple people in the group had a really profound experience of this woman having her profound experience. And inside of All of Me program, which is a ongoing group membership, where we do personal development in the group setting. And it is largely driven through energetics, which is my love. So it felt like the most delicious day, all right? Slow roll to my morning, fire gazing, quiet stuff around the house, adventure with my son. Came back, the house was like calm and peaceful. One-on-one coaching call with somebody who I've worked with for years, and just my heart is so connected to hers. Went into soul-led year. It was like delicious, like the kind of delicious that you're just like, mwah, mwah, mwah. Went into all of me. Like, we never got to bringing in this other subject, but it didn't matter, because what we experienced was exactly what we were supposed to experience. Getting to watch this woman in this really profound transformation, getting caught in the crossfire. So I come out of that experience and I just feel like I am floating. Like, it was such a great day. I had gotten all sorts of downloads as I moved through the day. There are multiple really expansive things that I'm working on and through in my own personal development that will ultimately be things that I end up coaching and teaching and mentoring on. And so these downloads were coming through, which is very common for me around any of the pagan holidays where the veil is really thin. I get a lot of spirit engagement. So I feel like I'm floating. I feel like I'm on cloud 9, right? I make this little post about how it was just such a mind-blowingly beautiful day. And then I hit my upper limit of happiness, of joy, the capacity in my nervous system and my energy body and my being in order to experience that level of peace and ease and alignment and joy. And for those of you who are not in the somatic realm, sorry, there's like cat hair on my face if you wonder why I'm like trying to get something off my face here. So if you are not in the somatic realm, or you are not deeply immersed in working with your nervous system, let me explain what an upper limit is. And when I say upper limit, I mean the upper limit of my zone of tolerance or my functional capacity range, or upper limit of my energetics. What I'm saying is that there is a space or a place, a range that I'm used to functioning in. And we have these ranges for all sorts of things, right? So we have this range for happiness. We have it for joy. We have it for chaos. We have it for money. We have it for sex. We have it for everything, okay? Everything. There's a range that we are used to functioning in. And if this is like the full range, like from 0 to 10, if there were a thing, we're just gonna speak to the mind right now, because the mind really likes to have linear things that we can look at it in a hierarchy. So if there was a range of happiness or fulfillment or mind-blowingly good day, and it were 0 to 10, and I'm used to functioning somewhere between 2 and 6, for example. 2 is kind of the lower limit, 6 is the upper limit, right? So I'm in this functional range of this bigger range, right? Hopefully this is making sense. When I get to the upper limit, when I am up here at 6 and maybe I hop up to 7, even though I consciously want more happiness, more mind-blowingly delicious, yummy days, my nervous system isn't actually used to holding that. I don't actually have the capacity to hold or be with that. And so what will happen is there are subconscious things that I will do that I will not even be consciously aware that I am doing that bring me back into my normal functional range, my zone of tolerance, right? So when I'm at my upper limit of my zone of tolerance, what I'm saying is I'm experiencing more joy, more ease, more peace, more love, more happiness, more whatever it is that we're talking about, right? Than I am used to experiencing. And when I hit this upper limit, my subconscious beliefs that hold me in this range, within this bigger range, when I'm at the upper limit, there are things that my nervous system will do that subconsciously bring me back into the range. They say, whoa, 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 we're getting way too happy. Life is getting way too good. You're getting way too easeful, peaceful, joyful, aligned. And if I am not consciously aware of how my nervous system works and how this phenomenon works, then what will happen is there will be subconsciously something that comes into my reality that I follow, and it will bring me back into my zone of tolerance, into my normal range that I'm comfortable functioning in, that my nervous system is used to functioning in. It doesn't mean that that's what I consciously want. Okay, I might consciously want more ease and more peace and more joy and more alignment in my life, but if I'm used to functioning from 2 to 6 and I get to 7, then my nervous system is gonna insert something, I'm gonna follow it, it's gonna bring me down into that 2 to 6 range, okay? You see this with people who win the lottery and then lose all the money because they actually don't have the nervous system or the capacity to hold that volume of money. Okay? Even though they consciously want to have a bank account full of money, their nervous system won't let them hold it. So when you understand how your nervous system works and when you understand the energetics behind this, hopefully you can witness it in real time as it's happening. And that's what happened to me last night. So I am just floating, right? Like I am just like, ha! And then I start helping my son with a science lab, and he does an online school. So we're doing this science lab. We're sitting on the fire couch. It's glorious. We're chitty-chatting. We're doing the lab. I'm helping him. The lab goes sideways, okay? It doesn't work. It's a virtual lab that you have to like input things and then things happen. Well, it doesn't work, okay? It doesn't work. We spent 2 hours doing it. And by doing it, I mean trying to do it. And I have the capability and the nervous system regulation to be able to have something that's not going smoothly in my life and to not have it dysregulate me. But that is not what happened because I was at the upper limit of my zone of tolerance for happiness, joy, peace, and alignment. And so what happened was there was a little opportunity for dysregulation. Lab's not going the way it's supposed to. We're 2 hours deep on this dynamic. I get agitated AF, okay? Agitated AF. I get completely dysregulated. I'm like, woo, 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 right? Like crazy, ragey energy is just through me. And I'm sitting on the fire couch with my son. And so I'm trying not to spin out on us both. And I say, I'm going to take a break from this. I'm going to walk away. Okay? Because I am losing my ever living shit. And my son was like, I see that. And he goes, do you need a glass of water? I'm like, I probably do, kid. I probably do. So I get a glass of water and I'm like, I'm going to go outside for a minute, stand with my bare feet on the earth. And he's like, I'm going to put wood in the fire and then I'm going to go play a game. And I was like, probably smart. He goes to take care of himself. I go to take care of myself. And I can see exactly what is happening. Okay? I'm like, I hit my upper limit. My nervous system provided an opportunity for me to come back into my zone of tolerance. I took it. Not my proudest moment. And then I caught it and I was like, I know exactly what's happening. My day was too happy. My day was too joyful. My day was too aligned. My day was too mind-blowingly good, right? Like I'd been all like, I love my day. I love my day. I've been posted about it. Nah. I caught it. And this is the piece that I loved. I caught it. I went outside. I stood barefoot on the earth. I drank water. I did a meditation. And then I said, not today. Not today. I am not going to do this today. I'm going to actually stretch my capacity for joy, for happiness, for alignment. And I get a text from the individual who, no, that's not true. I text this individual. I get a comment on a video that I had recorded a couple days ago about, excuse me, about having a conversation with a gentleman who has a seizure disorder and how that belonging shifted something inside of me. It healed something inside of me. It opened something inside of me. And he and I have been dialoguing back and forth via text over the past couple of days. And I had also shared that video inside of my All of Me group. And there's an individual inside of the All of Me group who had commented back and said, while I do not have a seizure disorder, when I was watching this video, parts of me were healed because there was a sense of belonging, because this individual has a migraine disorder. And so anytime you've got neurological things, there's a lot of crossover, right? And so this individual also understands what it's like to have to navigate and manage the resource that you have and look at the sequencing that leads into a migraine versus a seizure. And so while I was sharing about this really beautiful experience that I had had with this gentleman who has a seizure disorder and the sense of belonging that I experienced by offering him belonging, right? I belonged more deeply to me, to him, to the human experience, to the life that I'm living, to the uniqueness of who I am and the way that my brain functions. And in this video, this woman comments about how she has a seizure disorder. And so while she doesn't have a seizure, she has a migraine disorder. While she doesn't have a seizure disorder, she experienced a sense of belonging with him and I by watching the video. And so I took a screenshot of her comment, made it so that he couldn't see her name because he's not inside of the All of Me group. And I sent it to him and I said, I just want you to see the ripple effect of the conversation that we had, right? He and I end up going back and forth via text. This is the part where I was like, not today, baby. My nervous system is not getting the best of me. My capacity, my upper limit of my tolerance for joy, for ease, for peace, for alignment, for my fucking life is amazing. I'm going to stretch it. I'm not going to react and contract back into my zone of tolerance. This is the spot where I am going to consciously make a different choice. Okay? I could have done so many things once I started getting dysregulated. I could have spun out, which I started to do. I could have rage cleaned. I could have drank wine. I could have sat in victim villain energy and been like, that stupid science lab. None of that happened. I was like, no, not today. Not today. Today, I'm stretching my capacity for my life being mind-blowingly amazing. And so I consciously made the choice to engage with this individual. And we had the most delicious conversation. I mean, the most delicious. And then I ended up texting with his girlfriend, who is a friend of mine, right? So they're partners, but she's my friend. And he's actually somebody who I have really had no contact with. They've been partners for a period of time, but my friendship is with her, and I just haven't had crossover with him. So this is really me developing a friendship with him, right? This is my girlfriend's partner. And so I end up texting with her, texting with him. My heart was just exploding because the conversation that I was having with her filled my cup. And as we were having it, I was recognizing the phenomenon that I was pointing out to her I am also experiencing in my life. I won't get into the details of that today. Someday I'm going to get into the details of that. But I'm going to try and stay on point right now. I caught the way that my nervous system was trying to bring me back into my zone of tolerance around having a mind-blowingly phenomenal day. And instead of contracting and allowing it to bring me back into my zone of tolerance where I'm used to functioning, I challenged it and I stretched my capacity, and my day got so good. Not only was my day phenomenal, right? There was this like one little snafu. I started exchanging texts back and forth with this gentleman, with his girlfriend, who's my friend. Then I had another text exchange with another individual who is in my life who I really love. And then my son and I sat in my bed and giggled for almost an hour about ridiculousness, okay? So if you have ever played with me, right? I tend to be a very playful person, and I really like play. And I really like playing the game of like, if you were going to be a chip, what chip would you be and why? If you were going to be a state, what state would you be and why? If you were going to be a tree, what kind of tree would you be and why? Like, I love those games. I play those games with my kids all the time. And so my son starts playing this game with me. We are sitting in my bed cracking up. We laughed for almost an hour, like literally giggling our faces off. And eventually I was like, okay, I'm going to go to sleep. And as I was falling to sleep, like as I was drifting off, I thought about how mind-blowingly good my day was. And there are so many versions of me who would have really followed the nervous system dysregulation, and I would have gone back into my zone of tolerance. I never would have stretched my capacity to have this mind-blowingly phenomenal day. But instead of following that opportunity that was available for me, okay? Like, it was available. I could have been a total bitch bag. I mean, it really could have happened. It's happened in the past, guys. Like, it could have happened. It didn't happen. I used conscious awareness to say, I do not give permission for this. I'm capable of growing. I am capable of stretching my zone of tolerance, my capacity to hold this joy, this peace, this ease, this alignment, this excitement, this mind-blowingly great day. And it got better, right? I had this conversation, multiple conversations that filled my cup more than it was already full. And it was already like flowing over, which is why I had hit my upper limit of my zone of tolerance. And then I giggled with my son for an hour. He told me that I was spicy sometimes. I said something about being salty. And he goes, "No, I don't think you're salty." I said, "You don't?" And he goes, "No, you're spicy." It's not the first time I've been told that. And we got laughing. I was like, well, what kind of spicy, right? We got into this really, really fun conversation. And I wanted to share this with you because sometimes I'll make a post that's like, my day is mind-blowingly good. And people don't always see and then I hit my upper limit of my happiness and my joy and my peace, and I flipped my fucking shit and acted like a little bit of a psycho. But that exists too. It's part of me. And catching it, stretching my capacity, and going on to have an even better day than I was already having is also a part of who I am. And I wanted to share this with you because I think we don't talk about this stuff enough. We don't talk about hitting the upper limit of our happiness, of our joy, of our peace, of our ease. What it looks like, what it feels like, how that happens, and how to navigate it so that you can stretch your capacity rather than be brought back into your zone of tolerance around whatever it is that you're trying to stretch. So I hope that was helpful. I love you. I hope you're having a great day.